Dr.
Certain, so until then, we will go to the balance of the calendar. We'll go to...
Madam Chair, so are we technically okay with that last statement? I know we can't address him, but we're okay with what we're hosting?
There's diversity in every community, Ms. Lamont.
Yeah, I know. I just want to know if we're technically okay, that's all. Yeah?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, different opinions exist, and I appreciate that. Item number one. This is amendment to the Facility Services Division Strategic Execution Plan to approve a Charter Augmentation Grant for Monseñor Oscar Romero Charter School Project and authorization to execute Development and Lease Agreement for the financing, construction, and operation of a permanent facility on a portion of the Berendo Middle School Campus. Board members, I'd like to have someone move it, please. Moved by Ms. Martinez. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Lamont. I'm going to ask speakers to come forward, and before we hear from them, board members, I want to make you aware that we have had a lot of work on this project. There are constituents and parents at Berendo who have felt that they were not informed and have not been part of the process here. I want you to know that there are parents who are opposed, that were in a meeting with me and the principal, but as you will hear from staff and some others, this is a strategy to support the work of the community at Berendo. That where there is already a co-located charter, and there is an opportunity for use of 1D dollars, and ultimately there will be another plan for beautification at Berendo. A Prop 84 application exists, and we expect the 1D project to support that application. So while there are efforts to combine and support both programs, there still continues to be a community, pieces of the community that are opposed. I just want to say it out there. Okay, speaker number one. So this is your second time speaking. I want to remind you, if you have
Remember last time, and I was trying to get the council's attention. You can speak once on the resolution and then another time on an item. This is the item. That's what you told me last time. Okay, I just want to remind you, go ahead and speak. If you have any other items, you should use this time to do that. Thank you, Monica. Okay, anyway, just reminding everybody again of their rights. I'm pumped up and I'm excited because this is LAUSD. We are the best school like in the world. We're trying to keep it that way by making sure that we inform everyone. We watch the money. Again, watching the money. That's why it's so important for all of us to be informed, because the more information we know who's getting money, we know why people vote the way they vote, we know what's really going on. And again, parent power. Parents are the very important people. Parents, very important people. Why? Because no parents, no students, no money, no board, no nothing. So let's continue to remember. As I'm sitting here at this meeting, I'm hearing just different things. People talking about information needed, people being discriminated against, disrespected. Again, we have to remember, we elect these people. We elect these people. So therefore, if people are not doing what they say they're going to do, we have the power to vote people out of office. There's elections 2, 4, and 8 right now. I remember a parent earlier telling me, can I run for the school board? I said, of course you can run for the school board. It's not about how much money you have, where you live, or whatever. It's about that you're a parent, and you have the right to make decisions about what's going on in your child's school. You have the right to talk about and know where the money is going, who's doing what. You have the right. We have to quit asking like we're scared and it's okay to work together, but we have to watch the spirit of act like we're scared to ask for things or humbly. Yes, be humble, but at the same time, we got to remember this is our right. Education is our right. We have a right to make sure our kids are educated. We have a right to participate in this process. There's no way in the world group of people can sit and tell us what is what and who is what. This is government by the people, for the people. And so therefore, I just want everyone to continue to remember, we have the power. The people have the power. And so remember that. And even on the board, sometimes I see you all disrespect each other. We can see it. So therefore, it's like almost Rodney King, can we all get along? And we all can get along. We all can get along. If we be transparent and honest and real on what we say. What is written, make sure that we do. If you don't want to do it, then don't write it. Make sure you're very transparent with everyone. Don't make a decision and vote on something because the organization is giving money to you or your organization, and so that's why you choose to vote certain ways. It's about the money. At the end of the day, the public school, the charter school, all of it is about the money. And parents, wake up, because people are fighting over our rights. These are our rights. So we have to wake up and make sure we stand up and fight over our rights. We got everybody fighting over rights. Some people don't even have kids in the school right now. We have kids in the school, and we have to stand up and fight for the rights. So you see how important it is? Everybody else, organizations, business people, everyone else is standing up because they want a piece of the money. Parents, stand up. And that's okay if they're doing to help our kids to graduate. But we must stand up, get informed, and demand this. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Marcus Conahan. I am the chair of the science department at Berendo Middle School, and I'm also a member of our school site council. In my 8 years at Berendo, I've seen many changes. We've been through 4 different principals, and I think it's important to point out that one of our principals was appointed by the district without any input from faculty, staff, or parents, and that was, to put it mildly, a disaster. He was removed by the district for his malfeasance and misappropriation of funds. Even former Superintendent Ramon Cortines had to come to our school and apologize personally for how it was mishandled, and he promised to, and I quote, make us, quote, whole again, unquote. Despite some of these setbacks, however, our school has continued to flourish. Our test scores have steadily improved. We're on the vanguard of some of the more advanced initiatives like breakfast in the classroom. But the one thing that hasn't changed is that our school is overcrowded. Even with the transition from being 3 tracks to 1 track, from going from over 3,200 students to fewer than 1,000, our school does not meet district requirements. This diagram here, I apologize for the low tech, this comes from the district's own site analysis, and it shows that, amongst other things, our library is too small, our food services and dining area are too small, our gym is too small even to play basketball. There is no drop-off area on site for vehicles. There is insufficient parking. There are at least 10 portable buildings that were there for when we were track schools and overcrowded that should have been removed that haven't been. And specifically in the district's own report from last year, parking and playfields will be impacted with the new charter edition. The site may not be able to achieve district goals as the PE requirements are already deficient. This is from the district's own report. Because of all these deficiencies, and because we're in a densely populated neighborhood, and because it's an extremely park-poor neighborhood, Berendo was the only middle school chosen by LUSD facilities for the Prop 84 plan. This comes from 2 years. It's a labor of love amongst faculty, staff, parents, and all community stakeholders. This would give us the opportunity to do many of the things that Superintendent Daisy talked about earlier. All these improvements with new schools are part of this plan. And however, if you take and put a charter building right there, it makes it so we can't have a community center for the parents. It cuts into our parking, it cuts into our PE areas. You end up having a cascade effect where all these improvements that we want to make our school a greener school, a true community school, would be taken away. And in addition to that, by the time we're finally, as you were saying earlier, we're finally a traditional calendar school. We finally have some room, and now you want to make it a more crowded area. And why does it have to be Berendo? There are other schools that are less densely crowded and have more space, and our school deserves to be a true community school. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Anabel Castillo y soy una madre de Berendo Middle School.
Buenas tardes.
El distrito escolar hace un año analizó la escuela y declaró que había muchas deficiencias dentro del plantel de Berendo. Las limitaciones del espacio se observaron en la biblioteca y gimnasio y áreas donde nuestros hijos comen almuerzo. Se descubrió también que el área de donde los estudiantes practican deporte y juego está limitada. Entonces se dieron que la escuela...
Sí. Oh, the school district has analyzed the school a year ago, and they declared that there were many deficiencies in the Berendo site. Limitations of space were observed in the library, gymnasium, and lunch area. They also discovered that the area where students are practicing sports and games was also limited.
Entonces decidieron que la escuela Berendo no tenía la capacidad alguna para la construcción de ningún edificio adicional. En base de las conclusiones y la evaluación desde esa fecha no se nos ha informado ningún cambio en planes o en la decisión que hoy van a votar.
Then they decided that Berendo School did not have capacity for building any additional structure based on the conclusion of this assessment. To this day, we have not been informed on any changes of the plans or the decision that today you're going to vote.
Me gustaría saber en base a qué está tomando esta decisión. Si la escuela tiene las limitaciones, ¿cómo es posible que vamos a construir un edificio en un plantel que ya fue declarado deficiente para los alumnos de la escuela Berendo? Las dos escuelas merecen un plantel adecuado para las necesidades de los alumnos.
We would like to know what is the basis of this decision. If the school is still under the same limitation, how is it possible that we're going to build a building in a site that was already declared deficient for the same Berendo students? The two schools deserve an adequate site for the needs of all students.
Con este proyecto, la comunidad de Berendo va a retroceder a la misma problemática y saturación en el plantel con la que ha venido luchando por varios años. Ya los alumnos de ambas escuelas merecen que el distrito se ha propuesto y es ofrecer planteles adecuados y designados con un propósito de que el alumno aproveche al máximo los espacios y progresen académicamente.
With this project, Berendo community will go back to the same overcrowded problems that has been trying to fight for so many years. Students in both schools deserve what the district has proposed to do, and that is to offer appropriate sites that are designed with the purpose that students would be achieving at the most in the spaces that will promote academic growth.
Con los resultados estatales de este año se puede concluir que una escuela sin sobrepoblación tiene mayor aprovechamiento académico y puede lograr sus metas académicas.
And with this year's results in the state results, we can conclude that a school that is overpopulated does not have a good academic achievement and cannot reach the academic goals.
Nuestros alumnos que han experimentado en primera mano al vivir una comunidad sobrepoblada y con el alcance de áreas abiertas como parques, áreas recreativas, acudir a una escuela donde se les ofrezca un espacio digno y una oportunidad de crecer saludable en un ambiente importante.
Our students have lived firsthand as an overpopulated community with a lack of open areas and parks and recreational areas, and to go to a school where it's offered as an opportunity and a space where they can grow in a healthy way, that is very important.
La comunidad tiene la oportunidad de mejorar el espacio dentro de la escuela Berendo por medio de la Proposición 84 establece muchos cambios y beneficios dentro del plantel, como la ampliación del gimnasio, el acondicionamiento adecuado en áreas deportivas y recreativas seguras que incluyen la plantación de árboles, pasto y donde un solo alumno, no solo los alumnos, sino la comunidad tenga un acceso a disfrutar en una área digna, esparciendo que brinde diferentes opciones y convivencias familiares, comunitarias y académicas.
This community has the opportunity to improve the space within Berendo School through Proposition 84, establishing several beneficial changes inside the site, such as enlarging the gymnasium to refurbish the sports areas and recreational areas that are safe, including planting trees and grass, and where not only students and also the community are able to enjoy an area where they can enjoy together and offering different options of family sharing and community and academic sharing.
Por primera vez en muchos años, los alumnos de esta comunidad pueden tener una escuela sin limitaciones de espacio y competitiva donde pueden experimentar y desarrollar áreas académicas que anteriormente debido a la saturación no era posible.
For the first time, the students are able to, in this community, are able to have a school without limitations of space, where the school can be competitive, where they can experiment and develop and in their academic areas that before were not possible to do because of overpopulation.
Y de mi parte también decirles que si el parque de la Normandy no es abierto a nuestros jóvenes para deportes, porque realmente no nos los abren públicamente para que nuestros estudiantes o la comunidad juegue libremente, cuando realmente está rentado para los coaches que exponen sus juegos deportivos. Realmente, teniendo a Berendo, yo puedo ver y la comunidad puede ver que tiene ese espacio para poder jugar con las familias, teniendo el parque que ahora tenemos. O sea, es posible que consideremos esto. Como padre, de verdad, tenemos unas limitaciones dentro de esa área que de verdad nuestros hijos están encerrados en un círculo que de verdad lo debemos de considerar. Muchísimas gracias.
And in Normandy Park is not available for our children. There are rented areas with sports coaches, so our children are limited in a circle where Berendo will be the open space that they are in need for. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Erica Argueta. I am an ESL teacher at Beautiful Berendo. I have been at Beautiful Berendo for 5 years, and I am asking you to vote no on Amendment D. I would like to echo Mr. Conahan and Ms. Annabelle when I say that I do not feel that we had a voice in this process. In fact, there was no process. As a school, we promote social justice, and we encourage and, in fact, teach our students to have a voice. We have not had a voice concerning this new building. I also do not feel that just Mr. Conahan and I can give you a true perspective on the voice of our faculty as a whole. Ms. Annabelle would agree with me that we have hundreds of parents that need to have that voice. There was no process, and as a result, we have not had a voice. I would like you to vote no because I know that any new building on our campus is taking a step back. Beautiful Berendo needs less concrete and more green. We need to have our faculty versus student soccer and football games played on grass, not concrete. I have seen our campus shrink in number of students over the last 5 years, and it has become a more calm, safe, and community-centered school. The community, the students deserve a greener, healthier campus. I know that space is key to the success for our children. Why saturate? Why saturate our campus with even more concrete? As Marcus showed in the facilities report done by LAUSD, our campus is in serious need of a green overhaul. I imagine one day teaching after one day and then tutoring in the garden while I look at the trees and Ms. Com giving her free Korean lessons. I see Mr. Kaplan playing soccer on a beautiful grass field beside Mr. Elisegi giving jiu-jitsu lessons to our students. I see Mr. Conahan teaching yoga to our students. I see our kids and their families walking and playing in the garden, and it's so green and it's so beautiful. This is the beautiful Berendo that I and my fellow teachers and administrators and parents have been planning for 2 years. We have had a process then. Our faculty, parents, and community had a voice, and they want Proposition 84, and this building proposed in Amendment D was not part of that vision. So I ask you to vote no. No to more concrete or a new building. No, because we, the faculty, and more importantly, the parents and community have not been involved in this decision. There has been no process. We have had no voice. Despite the obstacles such as overpopulation, Beautiful Berendo has made great gains in its achievements, as you can see in our results, our test results. LAUSD faculties has pledged to the State Strategic Growth Council to use Measure Q funds to implement some of the greening project. Because there has been no process, because Beautiful Berendo continues to make great gain in our test scores, I ask you to vote no. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker. ¿Es número 4? 5. Okay, go ahead. Está bien, gracias. Bienvenida.
Mi nombre es María Mejía. Tengo una hija en Berendo y mis otras dos hijas y mis sobrinos se graduaron también de Berendo.
Good afternoon. My name is Maria Mejia. I have a daughter in Berendo, and my other 2 children and a nephew had graduated from Berendo.
Hoy día venimos porque nuestros derechos como padres de esta comunidad han sido ignorados, ya que en ningún momento se nos informó que este proyecto estaba en planificación.
Today we come to claim our rights as parents because we have been ignored. No one has informed us about the project that is being carried out in this school.
Nos dimos cuenta cuando se iba a votar es el mes pasado en esta junta. Al enterarnos de esto, nos comunicamos con la presidenta de la mesa directiva para pedir una junta donde pudiéramos dialogar sobre este proyecto.
We found out about this when there was a meeting last month. And when we understood that we had to communicate with the president of the board in order to request a meeting so we could dialogue about this project. Mm-hmm.
Se nos informó que era un plan que tenían elaborado desde hace 6 años.
It was informed to us that it was a plan that has been elaborated since 6 years ago.
Y en todo este tiempo nunca se comunicaron o informaron a la comunidad que iba a ser directamente impactada con este proyecto.
And no one communicated with us, and no one informed the community that was going to be impacted by this project.
Nosotros los padres creemos que tenemos el derecho de ser informados sobre cosas que van a impactar el programa académico de nuestros hijos.
We the parents believe that we have to be informed about any project that is going to impact the academic program of the children.
Ya que tenemos entendido que los padres teníamos igual participación en las decisiones dentro de una escuela.
Since we parents understood that we have equal participation in every type of decision that is taken in the schools.
Ya que somos miembros en muchos comités dentro de una escuela.
Since we're members in a lot of committees in one school,
no entendemos cómo una decisión se puede tomar sin incluir a aquellas que van a ser los más afectados.
We don't understand how a decision can be made without taking into account those people who are going to be more affected by it.
Los padres de esta comunidad merecemos respeto y la oportunidad de ser escuchados.
We the parents in this community deserve respect and the right to be listened to.
Las escuelas son parte de nuestra comunidad y como eso tenemos voz en lo que pasa alrededor de ellas.
The schools are part of the community, and as part of that community, we have the voice of making the decisions of everything that happens around them.
Todos los padres pedimos que se nos incluya y se respete el proceso necesario para hacer decisiones que afectan a un plantel para que un alumno mejore. Se necesita colaboración de todos. Es por eso.
All parents request that since we are involved, we are respected in the process of the decision-making process and every decision that affects the schools. And since we need to get a better student academic achievement, we all have a need to cooperate.
Es por eso que les pedimos a ustedes miembros que tomen en cuenta que los padres no fueron incluidos ni informados de este proyecto y nos gustaría que antes que votaran consideraran las necesidades de los padres e hijos que venimos y vecinos que venimos representando.
And that is why we ask you, members of the board, to take into account that we parents have not been included, we have been ignored, and we have not been informed of the process that is being taken into consideration. And we request you that before you vote, you need to take into account that the needs of the parents, the students, the neighbors, and those people or the people who need these the most.
Consideremos que la imposición de proyectos donde no se toma en cuenta la comunidad, solo crean barreras y divisiones.
We think that imposing a project in which the community or the needs of the community are not taken into account is just is creating obstacles for the community and a lot of division among them.
Nos gustaría que voten no a esta proposición.
We would like you to vote no to this proposal.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias. Next speaker, speaker number 6.
Dear Madam President, board members, Superintendent Deasy, my name is Nora Sandoval. I'm the Director of Operations from Monseñor Romero Charter School. Thank you for having us. I'm actually speaking on behalf of a couple of parents that were here earlier today but had to leave to go pick up their elementary school age students. She had her words. One of our parents, who's very outspoken and has been with us for a long time, had her words in Spanish, but I went ahead and translated it, so I'm going to go ahead and repeat them and go ahead and say them. My name is Bertilia Amaya, and I'm speaking on behalf of the 340 familias enrolled in Monseñor Oscar Romero Charter School. My child, Samantha Amaya, is an 8th grade student, and we have been part of the Monseñor family since my child began middle school in 6th grade. Although the school has had facilities challenges, we have chosen to follow the school from location to location. Why? We love the teachers, we love the program, and we love the high test scores. I'm asking that you vote yes for item number 1. We need a permanent home. We have Proposition 39 and have access to space now. If we do not build a permanent building, we will have to ask for Prop 39 every year. Please vote yes. We are district parents too. Our kids are district students too. The money for the building project will help improve the Berendo campus for all of the students, not just the Monseñor students. MORCS is in the zone of choice, and we want the choice to still have our children go to MORCS in one location, on one campus, in one building together. So please vote yes on item number 1. I also like to mention that on behalf of the school and the 340 students and families and communities, that we are very excited about the opportunity of being able to be at one site and be able to function as one family. We have generations of families in our school, and our entire community is very excited about the possibility of having all our families at one site permanently. And I'm also very encouraged about the community in the Berendo area, Berendo Middle School area, and we're encouraged about working together and making this coexistent work. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Board President Monica Garcia, Superintendent Daisy, board members. I just wanted to say thank you. It has been a very 6 long years since we first applied for Prop 1D, and I'm not sure if everyone is really clear about that, but we had the opportunity to submit this application alone, which many schools do, but we were forward thinking back then and thought, how can we partner with LA Unified and really help in terms of improve a campus or a facility that isn't part of the new building of schools that are happening. And so we partnered with the district. The board at that time approved for us to be on one of the district campuses, and we were very fortunate to have your support in that. We continue to want to collaborate. We are very clear that our students have an opportunity to have the right to have access to facilities. We are in Prop 39. We know that there are challenges around that. We have tried to be great partners in our Prop 39 co-locations. You will not hear about us in the LA Times. I wish you could, because we have had positive experiences no matter where we've been throughout the city. And I think that we work collaboratively with every administrative team in the school communities that we have been a part of. I am excited about our 340 students who continue to grow. We had our greatest growth last year while on the Prop 39 campus, co-located with Berendo. So I think there's a little bit of kind of like competition in terms of that's healthy. Part of the Prop 1D will also help support removing some of the buildings that need to get removed in order for the beautification to happen. So we are not against beautification at Berendo. We are really want to be a part of the solution, and also just be able to have a place where we can be in one facility and partner with the community that's with us. So we're about collaboration. We want to say thank you to the district for the continued choices you provide for parents, and the schools and zones of choice are amazing, and hopefully our parents will continue to want to have the community in Berendo be a zone of choice. So I just wanted to say again on behalf of the 340 families, please vote yes. We would like to continue our partnership, and we look very much forward to continue work in LA Unified. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's one more speaker?
Yes. I just said, if you have a minute, on behalf of UTLA, due to the information that was brought up today, and even for us new, but I think that I would ask you to consider maybe postponing the vote today. I've come from an area where we had an overcrowding, and it is very difficult to understand sometimes how is it that we put our community through this, having no field to do their physical education, overcrowded classrooms, and so maybe because of that, if you could consider postponing your vote, and so that you get all this information. I mean, we could get involved. I could talk to the school and see what are the issues that are affecting. We're trying to support our teachers in our community. I think this has to do with respecting the community where the school is in place now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes speakers. I'm going to ask our staff to come forward and just give a brief overview of the proposed project. And I want to remind board members that this was on for action at the August 21st meeting in an effort to communicate directly with the principal and school site. We postponed for a month. Welcome, Ms. Tokes.
Hi, Christina Tokes. I'm the Director of Asset Management for Facilities. This project is to award an augmentation grant to Monseñor Charter to allow them to build a permanent facility at the Berendo campus. The total value of their project is approximately $17.9 million. This is a grant that will give them $4.4 million towards the permanent facility. One thing important to note is that Monseñor currently is at that site through Prop 39. They currently occupy 16 classrooms at that site. This permanent facility will include 16 classrooms. This project does not add any additional capacity to the campus.
Thank you. And can you just speak to the Prop 84 proposed beautification project?
Sure. Prop 84 is a grant that is received from the state towards a nonprofit towards doing greening improvements on the campus. There was an application made to the state to do a conceptual greening plan of the campus. That conceptual plan is almost complete. Once it's complete, then an application will be made to the state for design and implementation. If that grant is awarded, and that grant is typically between $250,000 to $1 million, then some part of that larger greening conceptual plan will be implemented on this campus. That part of that project would be done with community involvement, stakeholder involvement, and facilities.
And can you share a piece, the Prop 1D, the current proposal will support the beautification efforts that have been conceived?
Absolutely. So part of the charter's grant will include improvements to the Berendo campus. Those will be determined as we work forward, if this project is approved, as we work forward with the stakeholders at the school site. Just so everyone understands, the project has not been initiated. This action will allow the project to start. It will allow the charter to bring an architect on board so that we can begin to scope what these improvements are. At this point in time, the project plan has not been developed or proposed. The other thing to note is this project would include removing the 14 portables that are currently at that site. That is an element that is also included in the proposed greening plan and wouldn't be able to be done if it were not with this project.
Thank you. So, board members, I think it's really important that we understand that certainly today there is not agreement on move the project forward by all members of the community. But I think what's important today is that indeed there is a win-win available to us, to this district, for improving a 10-acre campus like Berendo. We have to celebrate the work that is going on there. Absolutely. Absolutely, this community has survived Concept 6 and 3,000 students a year. It's down to 1,000. There is an opportunity. Back 6 years ago, when folks started looking at the neighborhood, and everybody's clear about the Belmont zone. It is overcrowded and it is dense. And so you all know we approved building a new school on the Virgil campus. So we have had 2 middle schools that were at 3,000. They're down closer to 1,000 at Berendo, closer to 1,300 at Virgil. We've put a new middle school on the Belmont campus when the high school seats were built. And so this is a continual conversation about community space. The opportunity of the 1D grant helps to support some of the beautification that the community is desirous of. We absolutely understand that we need more greening. We absolutely want to continue to, the Berendo parents, by the way, in this neighborhood have been some of the loudest in expecting more and demanding more from this district. So I just say to you, I know we have more communication to do. As Ms. Toke said, this project was approved by the BOC in August. When the board approves it, then it will continue to grow, but it is supportive of the vision to beautify Berendo. It is supportive of the relationship that exists today at Berendo because of Prop 39. MORC has been there 2 years? 3 years. Okay, 2 years. And so this is, while it's a difficult place, there is absolutely a win-win where the Prop 84 proposal can continue to seek state funding and gain support. And the staff and the parents, I understand there is desire to, they've asked me, why don't you paint the school? Why don't you help us clean it up? Why don't you help us green it? We know LA Unified has put $10 million in over the last 10 years, and that's not enough. We know maintenance is a challenge, but we are absolutely committed to working together, even with the folks who are not on board today, because this action today would initiate a project that then we have to work together to continue to shepherd. So that's my 2 cents. Questions from the board? Ms. Lamont.
Why did we postpone this from the last time, from the last meeting?
I requested it in order to have a meeting that the principal called me and said I thought it wasn't moving forward because she expected it to come in May and it didn't. And so because of that.
So the community thought it wasn't moving forward. So did we have that meeting?
Yes.
No, I'm Madam
So
Chair.
the principal had a meeting with me and the other partners, and then I went to their school on yesterday.
Okay. From what I've heard and from what I've read, there are 16 schools that the charter is using. According
16
to
classrooms.
how many?
16 classrooms.
Classrooms, I'm sorry. They tested 234 students last year. With 16 rooms, this is about 13 or 14 students a class. Can someone tell me that's, no, the number tested?
Right, but remember, we don't test grades 1, 2, and 3 in kindergarten in some cases.
Right.
So be careful.
Okay, so how many students were tested and why?
No, I'm
Okay.
just saying, we exclude certain,
I know first and second, right?
yes.
And
K.
kindergarten.
Okay, all right. So
So
is
there
this a
may be
1,000? This is a middle school.
Right, but no, I'm telling you, it's special ed, we don't. So I'm saying, be
But
careful
it's
of
a-
that number.
But it's a middle school.
No, I understand, but be careful on
Okay.
that number.
So we
Okay,
have representatives
so let's
here
just
from
say
the
about
charter school.
200. Okay?
Ms. Lamont, what is your question?
Okay, my question is very simple. If they tested, let's say they have a number of 234, let's say 200. It's still less than, it's around 13 or 14 kids a class. And we're saying they have grown to a point now where they need more than 16?
No.
Right, so
the project- The project-
More than 16 rooms?
I'll speak to the enrollment that they have currently at the school is 340 students in 16 classrooms, and that is grades 6, 7, and 8.
So what was the enrollment last year?
The enrollment that they had at Berendo, they were located in
No.
6 classrooms, and they had a total of 120 students.
100
Last
and
year, they
what?
were on 2 campuses, right?
They were on Berendo through Prop 39, and then they were located on a private site. At Berendo last year, they had 6 classrooms with 120 students for just 6th grade.
Okay, it's my understanding it's a watch school. So what do we do for our watch schools? And these are program improvement schools.
Good afternoon, Ms. Lamont. The school is currently in watch status as it was renewed last year. We reported that.
No. My question is general, not just charter.
Okay.
What do we in terms do for district schools that are on watch? That's what my question is. Not just charters. I want to know what we do with district schools that we designate watch schools.
We provide them support, but to a much lesser degree than we do focus. And so watch schools, it may be on watch simply because of mathematics. It may be on watch because of its population achievement in special education or language learners.
Okay, so what extra resources do we give those schools?
We do not provide watch schools in LAUSD resources above what they already get by virtue of their population. We do that for focus, board member.
So are these schools in our 5th district?
I don't believe Berendo is. No, Berendo is in the east, excuse me.
Okay, they're in the east.
Yes.
No, wait a minute, I'm not talking about Berendo. I want to know, what do we do for watch schools? Are they not special schools to whom we give special resources and what have you?
No, ma'am.
No? So I've got several watch schools and...
No, focus schools, absolutely. That's an entirely different category.
Okay.
And that we do provide a tremendous amount of differentiated services. You're absolutely right.
Okay. The bottom line here is not so much...
Or let me just say it differently. Berendo is performing at a much higher level than focus.
A much higher level.
Than focus schools.
Than the focus schools. So they're achieving, they're doing well.
And they're growing.
They're growing.
Improving, excuse me.
So now we want to put 16 classrooms on Berendo's campus. My whole concern here is, and I need to say it, I talked about de-intensifying some of the college, the school campuses. Berendo has been on year-round since Ras Heyman so long, trying to get it small. And now that we have it small, it seems as though the test scores are going up, and we aren't talking to the community, Is there any way, I'd like to go back to this gentleman's suggestion here. There seems to be a disconnect here somewhere. And Monica, I understand you want the best for your schools. And I don't need to say this, but I shop in that area all the time, so I know how thick it is in there. And it's great to see all the new schools and what have you in the area. Is it possible to detain and talk so that when this is agreed upon, everybody has said okay, because they both need help. But I think they need help, not saying you aren't doing this or you did this and we need you to do that. I think it's just of such a magnitude with the growth that we've had academically that people are together with what we're doing. So is there a possibility of that happening, as this person suggested?
I think there's a commitment from all sides, Ms. Lamont, to keep talking. It doesn't help us.
No, I mean more than just talking, Monica.
Well, I don't know if you're asking the board in general, if you're asking me. When I understood from these parents, they were not interested in supporting this project. So it wasn't a difference of an opinion or a request for more information. They have a position, and they're protecting their school, and I understand that, and I respect that. But the idea of what can happen for the campus with this project...
So who's fighting for them? Who's fighting for them? Who fights for our schools? And I mean that. Who fights for our schools? We get so much literature out, and I'm serious. Now, we need somebody to fight for these district schools. If you look at the literature, you'll see it's all pro-charter. I want to help the charters, but I need somebody to stand up for these district schools.
So absolutely, I represent all the students of the Berendo community. That includes the students of Oscar Monseñor Romero. Now,
no, this isn't a personal thing with you.
I understand, but you asked the question. So who fights for our kids? It is all of our job to fight for all of our kids. This can be a win-win situation.
And that's all I want it to be, is a win-win situation.
It is a win-win situation. Today's action initiates the augmentation grant that begins a path that is, we've heard some of the voices saying that we're starting a work group. And the principal asked the parents at the meeting to please stand up and participate in the work group. As she asked the faculty, stand up and participate in the work group.
So what's
Because
the
this
answer to this work group? It can come out either way, and they need to know that. We
Ms.
don't want
Lamont?
you to just join. No way, we don't want you to just join for the sake of giving it to whoever a YPI is or whoever that is, or to the district. Let's sit and talk and see to whom should it go and what's best for kids. This is not an adult agenda. It's for kids, okay?
Ms. Lamont, I gave you
And my
inaccurate
other question, and I'm gonna throw it out here right now.
No, let me
We've
just
got-
give you
We've got
you
other
asked
charters
for
that don't have
information.
enough room who have not been given this option. And we need to look at everybody and make all of this equitable to the charters we have in our district. I know I have them in mind, who have not been given the option of saying,
This
we
was an open
want to all
grant.
be on the same campus. So it's a little bit more complicated than this, and I think if we're about kids, we need to sit down so it's a win-win for everybody.
So, Ms. Lamont, one of the things you had stated before, and I actually misspoke, so, and I want to correct the record. Actually, Berendo is an achieving school, it's not Watch. So it's much higher than that. So I just wanted to make sure that we had the correct, accurate information.
So
There are people here from Berendo,
why would
and
we
they're
want
actually
to
doing,
stop it?
actually doing very, very
Nobody wants
well.
to
I
stop
just
it.
wanted to acknowledge that.
So
it's
why don't we
achieving.
talk about what we can do so that
Okay.
it keeps achieving and the
Yes.
charter comes in and it achieves also, but it's at least a win-win for everybody. But we just can't step on one side and say it's okay.
No. Other questions, board members? Mr. Zimmer?
Now, wait, I wasn't finished.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm serious. I need that question answered. I need it answered. You know, I listened to you. You took about 10 minutes at the beginning to put your thing out there, and I just think we need the same right to do that. Okay, I don't know about
I
Berendo.
apologize, Ms. Lamont. I
Oh,
thought
that's
you were
okay.
done.
You don't need to apologize because you had something to say. And
No,
I
I
respect
thought you were
that.
done, and so I was moving on to the next
Okay,
board member.
yeah. But I didn't get that question answered. How can we hear from both sides and have something constructive done? Can anybody answer that for me? It's you?
I think Ms. Tokes has been in several meetings with all sides, and I could just share with you my experience with this. We were in a meeting in my office where there was leadership from the school site, from the charter, from facilities, and there was an airing of concerns, and there was an agreement to move forward.
You know, I just need to say this. Some of us have not been in schools. Some of us walk in schools and say, oh, is this what this is really a school? It looks like this all of the time. Some of us need to visit these schools to see the culture that they bring to the community and what it takes out of the community when we take the school out of some parts of it. So this is a very serious question for this district, and I think we need to look at it strongly.
Mr. Zimmer.
I have some questions for Ms. Tokes. The beautification plan that was presented to this board, Prop 84 is one way to fund that. I mean, aren't there other options for funding that? Aren't there ways that I mean, have we, is everybody in line with, like, approving that plan? I mean, they said that they've been working on it for years, and that seems, I mean, it seems very legit. Are we in line with that?
Yes.
And so why is it that we can't say today that we make a commitment to move, to be able to do that. Because it seems to me that it seems to me that there are resources to create that, to make that plan a reality. And I'm not, I mean, again, this is not accusatory. I know you have a tremendous amount on your plate. The board president has a tremendous amount on her plate. I mean, I feel like we're going through this all the time. And one of the things that has been suggested is that we figure out ways to invest so that that we make sure that one community's plan does not injure in any way another community's plan when we try to do this. So can you tell me where we're at with that? Because that is, or can we be at a better place even by the end of this meeting, or a timeline to say to folks, here's your plan. I understand if they're opposed, if they're just, it's a straight opposition to this, I get that. But one of the things that people were saying is that we want to make sure we can still do this. And it just seems to me that we should be able to, if I'm going to vote for this, I should be able to say, it's not going to injure what you've been planning for.
Sure.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
We are working closely with the landscape architects of this greening plan. And we have shared with them our facilities master plan for the campus. We've shared with them.
Is it a match?
We're incorporating both. So there are certain elements.
Is the community in favor of the facilities master plan?
We have had meetings and we have provided input, and the community has reviewed and accepts the master plan. So yes, there is a way that we can make these two plans harmonious. They don't have to be exclusive of one another. I think the important thing to note is both of these are big conceptual plans that are probably worth tens of millions of dollars. And so what we need to do is, once these plans are conceived, is develop which part of these plans we're going to invest in and make sure that they work both for the charter proposal, if that's approved, and the greening plan.
So I want to be very, very clear. Because, and forgive me, I ask my colleagues' indulgence, that I am concerned about what I heard today, but as you know very well, this is not the only visit to this station we're going to make.
Correct.
And so, I mean, just as a policymaker, I mean, can we say today that as we approve, but we're not being asked to approve this greening plan today. We're not being asked to approve the master plan, and I understand that. But what I'm saying is that I'm going to talk in a second about Prop 39 and why we have to do some of these difficult things. But if we have to do these difficult things, maybe it's a question for the empty chair. I don't want to go there. No, I'm afraid of all empty chairs after Clint Eastwood. But what I'm trying to get at is I'm trying to get to, like, having folks either leave today or have some assurances that that this plan that they've been working on is not going to be injured by the plan that we're going to approve. And it's important here, but it's important everywhere where we're going to do this. And so is there anything more that you can tell me? That I have one more question and a comment. Is there anything more you can tell me right now?
I think we're in agreement that, part of a process of creating a master plan is to get input from all different stakeholders and to achieve consensus. And we're in the process of doing that. We're not at the end of that process. We're in the middle of that process.
Can you tell me, I appreciate that, and can you tell me again, it is for Berendo, but it's really a much more global issue for me. Can you tell me then that because there are a lot of stages of this planning, a lot, And I understand that people are coming here today saying that they haven't been included, and I'm concerned about that, as the board president and others have expressed their concern, but there's a lot more planning to be done. And it seems to me that we are making an absolute commitment to full involvement today.
Right.
But so as part of that commitment, can you say that first, both of these planning processes are going to move forward? And can you also say that, you know, we're going to give the community assurances that, you know, that as we negotiate with a architect from the charter partner, that, you know, that the sanctity, if you will, of the plan that is, and the fidelity of the plan that has been developed, you know, that's going to be a factor in these conversations. I mean,
Yes.
can you say that today?
Yes.
Okay.
So-
And then, so I appreciate that. And so that was my question, and here's my comment. And that is this, that I, as my colleagues know, I've gone through this, and we're going to go through these processes. And I don't think it's ideal. And you know, but the reason why I support doing this, as hard as it is because of Prop 39. And because there's, no matter how difficult figuring out a use of land is, nothing is more difficult than sharing, than sharing space, and the impact that space sharing has had on our schools. And, you know, one of the neighbor schools to Berendo is Bancroft. And Bancroft, I mean, Bancroft lost every computer station that they had for kids at the school. And we've been now scrambling, and I've been fighting to try and get an equal number of carts so that our kids, because of co-location, this is what it is. That, to me, is less acceptable than having to figure this out. So I say to the folks who have, you know, who have come today and raised the same kind of concerns that I've heard over and over again when we tried to do this in my district, I hear it,